So the health groups they sent a letter to the Food and Drug Administration to let them know that Juul is actually marketing their products as a smoking cessation, which they're unable to do unless they're classified as a drug and approved by the FDA. So this is coming from the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, American Heart Association, American Lung Association, the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. It's the Dr. Norman E. Sharpless, Acting Commissioner of the FDA, and its references Juul marketing claims of smoking cessation. And it says, we write to urge the Food and Drug Administration to conduct a thorough investigation of and to take appropriate enforcement action against the marketing of Juul e-cigarettes with express or implied claims that products help users stop smoking. These claims indicate that the Juul products are intended for use in the prevention of disease, namely addiction to cigarettes, a deadly product, and therefore should be considered drugs, devices, or combination drug device products within the jurisdiction of the FDA. As Juul is being sold without the requisite approval, it is an unapproved drug or device and is therefore being marketed illegally under the Federal Food, Drug, Cosmetic Act. And so, so anyway, I just want to show you the pictures, what they're what they're showing here. So it says smoking, quit, start smoking again. You can't say these types of claims. The whole make the switch campaign that they have, and they're saying the average smoker tries to quit 30 times. They can't do this type of stuff, see? I mean, they are right about that. Here's another one. Looks like 34 in there. 34 million Americans still smoke cigarettes. See, they can't compare. They can't say, they can't use Juul as a way of saying, well, yeah, switch to Juul because it's a better alternative for you. It's a healthier alternative for you than smoking cigarettes. They can't do that. Not even, like it says, they can't even do it implicitly, or they can't imply it. Like here, it's a smart, really well thought out alternative to smoking. They cannot do that. That is explicit. They can't use the word alternative. I was looking to find something to replace cigarettes. You cannot do that. Even if it's coming, even if this is an authentic person, not a model, they still cannot put that in their advertisement, that word replace. So they're not able to do that according to the Family Smoking Prevention Tobacco Control Act. Sage smoked for 23 years. So they can't put smoked and then Juul in the same advertisement. They cannot do that. It says, I hadn't planned to switch, but after about a week of having the Juul in my hand, I started reaching for it over my pack of cigarettes. That's an implied, you can't do that. Just you can't. I think it's an amazing invention. I don't know how we lived without that. Again, the word alternative. You can't use the alternative for adult smokers. It's amazing how they were able to get away with this. It's crazy. Juul Labs is on a mission to improve the lives of the world's 1 billion adult smokers by eliminating cigarettes. They cannot say that. Now, if Juul is reclassified as a drug and then approved by the FDA, yes, absolutely, they could use that kind of stuff. Like GlaxoSmithKline with their nicotine replacement therapies, they could say this stuff because they have proved to the FDA that they are a smoking cessation, that their particular product will either help you or eliminate smoking cigarettes, especially the ones that are prescribed by doctors, like the pills and the injectors and the inhalators. These are the ones that has been proven to the FDA to be smoking cessation devices. It's amazing how I have been saying for some time the only fault that I have found with the Food and Drug Administration outside of not enforcing the rules or the laws on the books or the federal statutes in regards to the wild, wild west of the vaping industry. But as far as Juul is concerned, I have yet to have or ever see the FDA. I mean, they talk a lot about the Juul. They always put the Juul down, the Food and Drug Administration, Center for Tobacco Products, but they have yet to issue a FDA warning letter in any way, in any form, to Juul. When they finally issue that FDA warning letter, then they mean business. But all this, like, if the FDA says, "Well, okay, we'll have a sit down, we'll talk to Juul, we'll have a meeting," see, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. Until they do an FDA warning letter, which begins the legal process, it's all just hot air. It's just talk. Let's see what the Food and Drug Administration. Sometimes I wonder, sometimes in the back of my mind, and it might sound a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but it's almost as if the Food and Drug Administration wants to have Juul on the market in order to take the entire vaping industry down. I hate to say that about the FDA, but that could be the part of the problem. And that's the only place where I will fault the FDA, that they have never taken any action, enforcement action, against the Juul company. Now, FDA warning letter is not an enforcement action, but once Juul does not respond appropriately to an FDA warning letter, that is, correct the situation, whatever is in the FDA warning letter, then it becomes enforcement thereafter. If they correct the situation, then there's no enforcement action involved, and then it stops. The process stops. But in order to begin the process, to begin the legal process, to begin the enforcement action, they must, they ought to, but they definitely must, required by law, that they issue a FDA warning letter against Juul. And until the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration slash the Center for Tobacco Products, actually issues an FDA warning letter against Juul, it's just talk, just bullshit. And that's the only main flaw that I have found with the former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb. And of course, you got to give this new guy, the acting commissioner, Sharpless, a little time. Let's see what he does. But he's like, in this particular case, with making claims that it's a smoking cessation product, it's a better alternative to cigarette smoking. Unless the FDA issues an FDA warning letter, then as far as Juul is concerned, it's got a lot of hot air coming out of the FDA. Like I said, and I'm going to leave it, I know I'm repeating myself, but I need to stress this. And that is, unless the Food and Drug Administration or the Center for Tobacco Products issues an FDA warning letter to Juul, then it's all utter bullshit. And on that point, you guys have a good one. Bye bye.